Mr. Game and Watch has been around for a really, really long time. I remember seeing them when I was a kid, and like they were old then. When I was a kid, I had a multi-screen, a Game and Watch called Donkey Kong Country 2. It was brown and gold, and I loved it. And I found this one on eBay and just absolutely had to buy it. And this one still works, which was really cool. But Game and Watch is basically like Nintendo's portable character back before they had the Game Boy. And each game had its own each system that you bought just had one game on it. And it was basically LCD screens. And in Mr. Game and Watch eventually ended up in Smash Brothers. And I can already tell you exactly what happened. Somebody was going through old Game and Watch games, and they were looking at I hesitate to call them sprites, but they were just the LCD images. And they were looking through them, and they were saying, okay, well, let's use this one as a move in Super Smash Brothers. Let's use this one. But this is back in the 70s. This is long before the political correctness that we have now happened. And I think it's a little unfair to judge Game and Watch based on the political correctness of today when Game and Watch was something that was back in the 70s. So when somebody was sitting down and building the animations for Mr. Game and Watch in Smash Brothers Ultimate, and they were picking out different sprites from old Game and Watch games, I can see how they could easily make a mistake, not really even thinking about it, and including the sprite that if you're watching the YouTube video, you'll be able to see, and if you're not watching the YouTube video, then you'll just have to follow the link in the show notes, which is kind of racist and, not in the best political correct way, if that makes any sense. He's a character, and he looks very angry, and he's got a feather on the back of his head, and he's holding a torch. And a lot of people said, well, this is offensive. This is an offensive depiction of Native Americans. And at the time when they did it, I bet you that's exactly what they were thinking. They weren't thinking about the political correctness or the politically correct climate that we live in now in 2018, although that's kind of laughable to say. But whoever was in charge of making the animations for Mr. Game & Watch probably was just, oh, okay, there's a little thing on his head. And they probably didn't really think about it. Well, some people noticed it, and they were not happy about it. And Nintendo has responded. I think that this is a good thing that Nintendo is doing. Nintendo responded to the kind of backlash. Again, I don't think it was on purpose that they did this, but they just weren't thinking about it. And I think that we've all made a mistake like that from time to time. So I can forgive Nintendo for this, but they're doing the right thing now, and they're fixing it. So their response was, Nintendo has been planning to distribute an update for Smash Bros. Ultimate that removes the feather from the silhouette of Mr. Game & Watch. The original game on which this depiction of the character is based was released more than 3 decades ago and does not represent our company values today. We sincerely apologize that this change was not noticed in our marketing material and are continuing to work to make Super Smash Bros. Ultimate an experience that is both welcoming and fun for everyone. So Nintendo changed it because the PC police said that that's not cool, and I agree, it's not cool. But I know that there's some people out there that are just mad at Nintendo for doing this in the first place. And I feel like this is completely accidental. Nintendo didn't mean to be offensive with this. They just didn't think about it. They were just mindlessly copying a sprite from over 3 decades ago into a new game. And whoever was doing that just probably really didn't think about it that way. And you know, I'm happy that Nintendo is changing it. I'm happy that Nintendo is, you know, owning up to their mistake and not trying to hide behind it. Um, Now, if only, you know, the NFL could do something like that. Who knows?